In addition to your markers, slick surface for your palette, a water and a water cup, as well as your brush or makeshift brush or paintbrush alternative, you're going to also need an image of a landscape that you've taken. What I'm asking you guys to do is to find an image of a landscape. Maybe it's what you can see from outside your window, or maybe it's an area around your neighborhood, or an image that you might already have is fine too. My image is a river in Wichita that my dogs like to walk when we're visiting our friends in Wichita. So without further ado, here we go. Now I like to start setting up my slick surface palette with my colors that I got from, I think they're originally Target generic brand, that are just washable markers in rainbow order, or an order that makes sense to you. I like the colors that blend really easily together, like tertiary colors or those analogous color schemes put together in the same kind of general area. Now, I can add water straight onto there, so I can flick some water onto the individual colors, even if they're dry, to reactivate the marker that is on my slick surface. And then I add it to the watercolor or to my drawing. Now, adding the marker onto the slick surface and then painting from there can give you more of a subtle change. There are other ways to go about it, so maybe I paint water on first, and then I might even do the marker directly on. Here's an example of that. These areas I had already done marker directly onto, and I'm just adding water to either specify an area or to fade out the edges, to manipulate the marker that is already on the page. Now, in this area down here, I think I'm going to add a little bit of water in an area, and then I'm going to do marker on top, and then I'll blend that out a little bit. Now, word to the wise, be careful when you're adding water. You don't want to put too much water, because then your marker will really bleed and go a little bit out of control. So I like to do small areas because it's harder to take away. If you do too much, you can blot it with a paper towel or a Kleenex to do a tissue lift, which is a traditional watercolor technique that is very effective in taking off accidents and things if you need to Now, after all of that, this is what I have done with just the marker watercolor technique. I do end up going over this with some colored pencil. Here is the finished product with some colored pencil over the top. Some of the geese I did with pen, whatever you have on hand. If you need to get more details in there that the markers weren't able to do, or whatever changes you need to make yourself happy with it, go ahead and do that. Just make sure that when you're creating a landscape that it's softer in the back, lighter, more pastel colors, more contrast, lights and darks that are bold in the front. That is called atmospheric perspective, where there's lots of contrast close up, and then the background is soft and far away. Let me know if you have any questions. You guys have my email. You guys can also go ahead and call my office line if you need to. All right, good luck. You'll have a couple weeks